Austin Faith Dialogue at the Crossroads of Religion and Life, a series highlighting the cultural and social interactions with the worshiping and religious communities in and around the capital city. Austin Faith Dialogue is brought to you by the Austin Area Interreligious Ministries in cooperation with KNVA. Join us now for Austin Faith Dialogue.
Welcome to Austin Faith Dialogue. I'm Carl Gronberg, host of the program, and for those of us who love Austin, we know when something exciting is happening in our fair city, and there's something very exciting that's happened this year in our city, and it's called the Dell Children's Medical Center. Going up I-35, you can see it as you're going north. There it is. And I have two people who are going to talk about that very special place for children and for the community. Dr. Kelly Thorstead, welcome back to Austin Faith Dialogue.
Thank you.
And Chaplain Dale Rashford, good to have you here. Thank you, Chaplain, for being with us.
Thank you.
I'm personally very excited about the hospital for a number of reasons, but I'm also excited because it means that this community is saying something about we value children. Tell me a little bit about what you think. Chaplain, you're new to the Austin community. Where were you before you came?
I was at Children's Hospital of Omaha in Nebraska, and was brought here to be at the new Dell Children's Medical Center to lead chaplaincy there, and I'm really excited to do that.
When you first saw the hospital, what was your reaction? What did you think?
Well, when I first saw it, when I came about a year ago now, was a lot of concrete over on on the east side of I-35, and I couldn't even imagine what all the beauty and sacredness that would be in that space. And to be able to see it in the last couple of weeks as we've opened and as we've moved babies and children into that facility, it's just been phenomenal to see all the healing space grow and develop in that big pile of concrete over there. So it's been wonderful.
Before we came on the air, Kelly, we were talking about the fact you grew up in Austin, and we remember when the planes would land there. Even you can remember that as a child coming in there. And now, as a physician, you come over to that part of town and you drive your car up to the hospital to take care of children. Now, you're on the medical executive committee, is that right, of the center? So tell me a little bit of what you do there.
It's a committee of medical professionals that help run the hospital. So we go through policies and procedures and about how the hospital runs, basically.
You told me to take the youth of our congregation to the groundbreaking, so we were there. I follow the advice of the doctor, so I took the youth, we went to the groundbreaking, and then we watched that building come out of the ground. The architecture is stunning. To walk into that place, the openness, the spaces, it's 3 times the size of the Children's Hospital where they moved from. But you all will be going in there. I'll come and visit, but you're going to be there frequently. What do you anticipate the Children's Hospital saying to those families and those babies that you send over there? What's it going to say to them?
It is a gift. And to have the technology that we have in Central Texas and to be able to have the best medical care here in town and not need to go to a bigger city is fabulous. And it will say, welcome, and we'll take good care of you.
Prioritizing children.
Absolutely.
And making families and parents be a part of that whole experience. Hospitals can be scary places, right, Dale?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what Dell Children's Medical Center is really designed to do. It's designed to provide a space in which it is family-centered, in which we take care of the entire family, in which we look at how we can connect mom and dad and brother and sister into the illness of this child, and how they all can work together towards healing and bringing together a wonderful moment of moving forward in their lives. And the architecture, everything is designed in that way, and it's a beautiful place.
When you were considering the call to come here, is that the terminology we can use as the
Absolutely.
call? Is that all right?
Absolutely.
You probably knew about the history of chaplaincy at Seton and the fine legacy that people have given to that ministry, but also there were some new things that were going to happen, and you were telling us a little bit about your chaplaincy staff. Some of the things about having offices in different locations, not necessarily just in one location, but spread out throughout the hospital.
Right. Well, at the old Children's Hospital of Austin, we had a local chaplain office that was sort of separated from where the action was, where the patient units were. We used to have a chapel at Children's Hospital of Austin. Before I got there, it had been used for other things as we grew and we needed more space. And what was nice was, as I was watching the planning and developing that had already gone on before I came, it really impressed me that there were going to be offices in the pediatric intensive care unit, the neonatal intensive care unit, PANDA, which is our pre-surgical area, our intermediate care area, and hematology and oncology with our cancer patients. Just all over the hospital, we have key offices where families can just pop in and say hello, where staff can just pop in and say hello. And we've never had that luxury before that says to everybody, this is a place where we care for your spirit as well as your body. And it's a beautiful thing.
You were saying before we came on the air that part of your belief system is this holistic approach, body, mind, and spirit. As a physician, and I know you delight in your job and ministering to these children and working with them. What does it mean for you as a doctor and as a person of faith to be able to think in terms of those dimensions being manifested and lived out in the new hospital?
I think that it is crucial to think of your mind and your body and your spirit, and you can't separate them. And physicians, sometimes we do that, and we're very detailed, and it's nice to have places that are everywhere to remind us that we're not just cells, you know, and we're not just here to fight bacteria. You know, we're here for the whole body, and then the mind and the spirituality of the staff and the patient and their family, and that's where healing on all different levels happens.
As you think about going down the hall at Dell Medical Center for Children and you see chaplain there, what does it mean for you as a person of science, as a person of medicine, to see that, well, there's Dale, and I was with him on Austin Faith Dialogue, and to think that he's a colleague of yours then in this whole process of ministry and of healing.
Right. It's warmth, right? I mean, I think you feel like you have home base, and that's what I've always felt about faith, is that it's home base, and to make sure you're reminded of your home base.
And how the building reminds us of that home base is with sacred space all over the hospital. There's gardens, healing gardens, in various parts of the building that are accessible for children as well as parents and for the patients. There's a beautiful auditorium there that's put there. There's an amphitheater where we can do story time and worship services with the children, as well as godly play. We can
hold it right there. We got to ask you about some of those things. All right, we got worship services with the children, and you said godly play.
Yes.
Now talk about that. What are you talking about there? That's interesting stuff.
Well, godly play is a way of doing education with children that is using what they do best, which is playing. And we believe that one of the greatest spiritual qualities of a child is their ability to be playful with us.
I'm wondering, I'm going to bring Dr. Thorstad into this, because as a psychiatrist, or as a pediatrician, but also looking at the children's needs emotionally and intellectually, are you concerned at all that some parents want their children to be super in everything that they do? What about this? I like that idea that a child should play. That's good stuff, don't you think?
Absolutely. To do non-judgment, right? We're judged in this world by a lot of different things, and what are your grades and what is your test score, and it's nice just to relax and enjoy, and there's no judgment.
Expectations, right?
Correct.
Some expectation, because I know something about your upbringing, and I think as I look at your growing up, there was not judgment, but there was certainly a sense of expectation. And I think this high idea you have spiritually about home base certainly comes from, you know, your parents. And it seems to me that welcoming that you were talking about, the hospital giving, because as parents come in and their child is sick, they need to have that kind of invitation to be human and to feel what they're doing and what's going on inside. And the children need to be invited to to play.
Absolutely. They are taking out of their normal environment. And so chaplains, child life specialists, we work with the children to help normalize this environment for them again, so that they feel playful, they feel happy, they feel as if they can heal and get better and get back home to doing the things that they love to do. And we try to make that as normal as possible. And Dell Children's Medical Center was built for that specific purpose.
At the old hospital, there the children would do paintings. Now at the new hospital, there's beautiful artwork. And I think that artwork, as I looked at that going through the hospital, touched me in speaking of faith and life. But will the children be allowed to do paintings at the new hospital?
Oh my gosh, there'll be so much painting going on. In fact, I'm already watching the painters at work in the playrooms, and all the various playrooms that we have all over the building, not only for the patients, but for siblings as well, which we've never had before. Because of infection control, you can't have the two populations mingling together. And so now to have places where not only can the patient play, but the parents can bring brother and sister and come, and they can play as well.
Well, how can they do that if there's no mingling, though? How do they do that with?
There's separate playrooms for the siblings, called the Sibling Playhouse, which will be there, and it's just going to be wonderful.
There's been a lot of thought that's gone into this hospital. Were you a part of that, or was that executive committee a part of all the different ideas? Because, my goodness, we've come a long way in the concept of hospital.
Absolutely.
How was that developed? Do you have any idea how that happened?
A lot of great dreams, a lot of wonderful dreams of different interdisciplinary people coming together and saying, what are your big dreams? What would you have? If you could have the medical center of your choice, what could you have? And those dreams came together into this building, and it's not perfect by any means, but it is as perfect as I think we can get on this planet, and it's as good as it can be. And are there dreams that were left behind? Probably, but most of the dreams that all the different disciplines brought together, the doctors, the child life specialists, social workers, nurses, they all got put together, and this is what we came up with.
Dr. Thorstad, your colleagues, are they really excited about utilizing this facility?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And what about the members of the staff, the nurses and the crew and the custodians and all that? Do you sense, Dale, the excitement about being in, people build a new house and they think, wow, we're in our new house, and is there that kind of similar excitement on the...
There's a lot of excitement. In fact, I wear my Dell Children's Medical Center shirt to other facilities because we're a network department, so I get to see other facilities as well. And when I go in there, they say, you work at Dell, don't you? And I'd like to work at Dell. So there's a lot of excitement around. But Seton Family of Hospitals is a wonderful place, but because of the excitement, everyone's looking at the new place and saying, oh, I wish I had a part of that. I was a part of that. So that's an exciting thing.
I like that theme, a wonderful place. And we're going to talk more about you and your life story. I'd like the viewing audience to hear a little bit about how you came to be the chaplain you are today. That's an interesting story that you've told me. Sure. And we want you to stay with us on Austin Faith Dialogue as we continue to talk about this sacred space that has been built in 2007 for ministry in our community, prioritizing children and valuing the gift that they are, this new children's hospital. We're thankful for that, and we want you to stay with us on Austin Faith Dialogue. Welcome back to Austin Faith Dialogue. We're talking about this very special place just east of I-35 as you're going north. And there it is in the old Miller Airport. And there stands this wonderful, beautiful new symbol of what Austin believes in, that we believe in our children and their well-being. And we have two people here with us in Austin Faith Dialogue who are talking about this. A pediatrician, a doctor, Kelly Thorstad. Thank you, doctor, for being here. And Dale Ratchford. Tell me a little bit, and tell our viewing audience, how is it that you can be here? Now, you got a call, you came from Omaha, Nebraska, Children's Hospital there, and we're very happy that you did.
Thank you.
But you would not necessarily be the stereotypical type person who would end up in the chaplaincy from what you've shared with me. Tell me a little bit about your growing up.
Sure. Well, I grew up in Pasadena, Texas. I'm a native Texan, and I didn't start going to church until I was about 14 years old, and grew up in a chaotic situation at home, and moved around a lot, lived with my sister a lot, and moved back and forth, and a lot of troubles growing up. And I was brought into the church by a wonderful pastor who you know, and who loved on me and cared for me, and brought me in and showed me what real love and real family was about, and more importantly, showed me that that I could have a different future, a future that could make a difference and have an impact on people's lives. And of course, then at 14, you know, I had no idea what that meant for me. Went to Texas Lutheran University in Seguin, and then went on to Princeton Seminary. And when I was there, we had more disruption in my family. My father died, and dropped out of the ordination process at that time, and did some exploration of my own spirituality, and needed to find some way of reconnecting with who I was as a minister and as a person. And clinical pastoral education was that for me. And so I came back to Houston and worked at Texas Children's Hospital.
I want to stop you there because some of our viewing audience, Dale, may not know clinical pastoral education. What is that?
Clinical pastoral education is an education program for people who are in ministry to work in hospitals. And they go basically in 3-month units. And it's a training program. And some people that are in CPE, they go on to do professional chaplaincy like I did. Most that are in CPE go on and do other professional ministry, mostly in the church, but other specialized ministries as well. And it's a way for them to see the world from a different set of eyes and from a different point of view, and to have more clinical experience.
As a 14-year-old teenager, I think you told me that you would be playing ball in a field next to a little church building, and that this particular pastor developed a relationship and affirmed you, and she invited you to become a part of the community. But there was a story that you went on a camping trip. You went off to Colorado, I guess it was, and someone said something that I think is so important. I think Dr. Thorstad believes this, and I want our viewing audience and maybe the young people who might be watching this. You were there on that mountain, and this person said something to you.
Yeah, well, it was a pristine, beautiful mountain lake up in Colorado, and one of the pastors there with me knew my history, knew my story, knew where I was coming from, and had his camp coffee there in his hands, and my first cup of coffee as a young person.
And you weren't 14 then,
though. No, I was more like 16 or 17 then, and sat there, and all he simply said was, you know, you can do something different with your life. And that was what it took for me to start thinking about maybe going to college. I was the first one in my family to go to college, much less graduate school, or to even think about that. And so to be able to have someone give me enough attention and love and inspiration to say, this is something that you can do. So,
Dr. Thorstad, you listen so well. And that's a quality you have as a person, a human being, but as a doctor. But as you listened well to this story, what do you hear Dale saying? What's really at the heart of this? From, you know, I have what I was listening to, but what do you hear?
I was thinking how important it is to have people in your life as a mentor, and to have those key moments in life. And we talk about that with pediatrics, those touch points. You know, you have these little little times in life where you can touch people, and it's a touch point, and that's what I was thinking of. That what a wonderful gift that that person gave him to touch him in that way that made a huge difference in your life.
Right.
Yeah.
And that flowed out of the faith traditions, vision that those people were living themselves.
Absolutely.
And they saw your worth and your value. As a pediatrician, and these babies come to you, it can't be any more exciting. I've been in your office, and I see those mothers and fathers come in with their children, and that's just really holy stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. I am humbled by that. Yes, it's very, I love my job, and I am humbled by that responsibility and the trust that parents give us to take care of their children. And it's the trust they give the new children's hospital too, to take care of their most precious child.
And I'm thinking, from God there is a trust to those parents. And when you talk to those parents about their responsibility, what are some of the things that you might say to a parent? Because I think you have ministry that you're doing there, and you know, sometimes you have to speak candidly about caring for that child.
I think one of the most important things that I tell parents is that they're doing the right thing, that they're worried, and that they just need to follow their gut. And from a medical standpoint, there's lots of advice, but I say this all the time: just love them. You know, love them and feed them, and that's really what they need to do. and trust themselves.
You
as
sound
a
like my
parent.
Swedish Lutheran mama who always said, "Nakali poika, sleep right, eat right, and you're going to be just fine," you know. and that all translated in her theology is loving me. And that's what I heard that you were talking about, was we need these mentors, like Dr. Thorstad said. And we need those moments when we are touched by people. But we really need to know that we're loved. And I think to say to parents, you're doing well. Believe in yourself.
Right.
And I think the Children's Hospital is a symbol that says to the community at large, this is who we are. We believe in life. And it's important for us to celebrate that life. Well, Austin Faith Dialogue has its roots in the faith community, and so I have to talk about this. So you came through the faith community, and now you're chaplain there. There's this beautiful chapel in the middle, and when I was going through at the open house when I got there, tell our viewing audience about the chapel. It's a gorgeous place.
Well, it's the Tom Maxwell Chapel, and it has this beautiful ceiling that rises up to the sky and gives us the impression of openness and beauty, with these beautiful colored windows that radiate light in. There's a healing garden that is part of the chapel healing garden that is only accessible through the chapel. That's also part of that.
I missed that, Dale.
Yeah.
When I went through, how do you access the healing garden?
Through the front door of the chapel, and you walk straight ahead. There's another door that goes to the outside, and there's a garden that is exclusively for the chapel, and it's another place to be able to sit and reflect and to meditate and pray. And
again, the total dimension then, right?
Absolutely.
Of the physical senses and being outside, inside, and recognizing body, mind, and spirit. But it's also an interfaith type of experience when I go into that chapel. Did you not say that it'll be for Roman Catholic worship, for Christian worship, but also for the Jewish community, the Islamic community? Is that true? Absolutely.
All people are welcome to utilize the space and to be in that space. And yes, it will be a consecrated space. It'll be a holy place blessed by the bishop here for the Diocese of Austin. But it will be a space that will be a healing place for all people and a welcoming place.
See, and a holy place like that can be open to all people.
Absolutely.
Where all are welcome to come and experience. Just the vibes. Is it okay to use that word?
Sure.
The vibes when I went into that place was just really good. Sister Teresa, she was there, and she's a magnificent person. What is her role at the hospital?
She's our Chief Operating Officer there at Dell Children's Medical Center.
What I sensed from her when I was there in that chapel was a spirit of servanthood.
Oh, yeah.
And really came across to me the welcome that she gave to all of us as we were kind of in awe of what that place. And you will lead worship around the hospital, not only in the chapel, but you'll take you have godly play. You'll have godly worship in other places too.
Oh, absolutely. We plan on working with Child Life and building partnerships with Child Life to have weekly times of spiritual play or worship on each of the units in the playrooms, and to set aside time with all of our staff to do different things throughout the week.
And how many chaplains do you have with you?
Well, we have 2 that will be starting on July 30th, so we'll be growing very quickly in the next couple weeks. But we also have clinical pastoral education residents, like I was at Texas Children's and how I got into this. And we also right now have a lot of summer interns, and they represent all different faiths, from the Catholic Church to the Presbyterian Seminary here that's in Austin, the Episcopal Seminary that's here in Austin, Lutheran Seminary, and but we also have Jewish students and Unitarian students. We have a wide range and variety of people that are on our staff that do ministry with us.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
Dr. Thorstad, wow, it's amazing, isn't it? And I'm going to be thinking about both of you as you go into that place and how you are being ministers of God's grace. You're a wife, wonderful husband. He's also a physician. 2 wonderful children. What are their names?
Cole and Avery.
Know them. Cole and Avery, yeah. Beautiful baptized children. And chaplain, you have a wife, and you're a father and a husband. You have 3 children?
I have 3 children. Sophie, who is 5, Ian, and Molly Michelle, who was just born on 7/7/7. So,
Molly Michelle is just new to the Austin community.
Very new.
And new to the Ratchford family.
She is.
Well, we are so thankful for you. There's a lot we could talk about, and I'm hoping that we can have more of these discussions about the role of the hospital in the greater community, and inviting some of the clergy who are around you to come and discuss how they can relate to the hospital and the ministry of healing and health that's a part of the hospital. God bless each one of you and your families, and thank you so much for what you do.
Bless you.
And we say to you, the viewing audience, there was this rabbi, some called him, and others called him a savior, and others called him Redeemer, and he said, "Let the children come unto me, forbid them not, for such is the kingdom of God. Unless you become like unto a child, you don't enter into the kingdom." We're grateful for the children. We're grateful for the Children's Hospital. Go visit it. Visit the chaplain, the staff, and you'll sense the healing and the wholeness that belongs to your children and our children. Peace be with you. Thanks for being with us on Austin Faith Dialogue.